think with the doctor. Yes, he's got it. Here he comes. Way back the baby to sleep until morning. Ewing. Oh, wow. Oh, he's going to try to get one more shot off the line. Push the buzzer. How about that? Steps over Toronto. He thought about three. He'll put up a three.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Boom Broadcaster presents 3 from Deep. I'm your host, Jason Colenso. Welcome to the show. Start spreading the news. I'm leaving today. I want to be a part of it. New York, New York. These vagabond shoes are longing to stay. Right through the very heart of it. New York, New York. Ladies and gentlemen, if the Knicks keep winging, I'm going to keep singing. So let's go. How you guys doing today? Thank you very much for joining me here on 3 from Deep. Fantastic start of the weekend here. Saturday, we've had some great NBA games, guys. I appreciate you being here with me from 3 from Deep. Stop. Hit the like and subscribe button. If you've never been here before, welcome. My name is Jason Colenso. Man, if you haven't checked out Boom Broadcasting, guys, jump on the bandwagon. Lots of great content providers. Lots of great stuff to watch here on this channel. So please like and subscribe. Hit the like button on this page right here, man. And you know, guys, if you got any comments, check me out. But we got a packed show today. We are going to talk a little bit about the NBA. And I say a little bit because I got a very special show today. And I say we because I'm not alone. I had to bring somebody else on here because we are going to get in today to the WNBA is starting its season this coming up week. So I am excited to introduce my man, Mr. Podcast Smitty, is going to come on here. Let me bring him onto the stage. Shannon, how you doing, man? Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me today.
Man, I'm doing great. Thanks again for having me. This is another time that I'm on your show, and every time I come on, I feel welcome, man. I appreciate you having me for today's show.
I appreciate you being on here, man, because, look, dude, I am this, of course, you know, being a Knicks fan right now, I am super excited about the NBA playoffs right now, but overall, man, the NBA playoffs have been crazy exciting. We've had buzzer beaters. We've had a few blowouts. We've had leads lost. It looks like nobody wants to play 4 quarters. They like play 3 quarters and then kind of stop right there. So we've seen some 20-point plus blown leads. Madness, man. I love it. And this stuff is so fun. But that's not all we're going to talk about today, man. I am awesomely excited to talk about the WNBA and coming up with the season. I know we talked a lot about that last year, man. That's kind of how we kind of connected last year with the during the Liberty, their run to the championship. So, man, the WNBA is going to be on fire this year. I think it's going to be their biggest season yet. So, but first things first, man, let's dive on in to this NBA playoffs right now. And of course, you know, I got to start with my Knicks. We play again tonight. You know, they have performed very well in these playoffs. They scare me. They like, you know, I don't like the whole going down 20 and then deciding to come back. I wish they would start out with the lead and then like just stick that way. But I can't say anything bad about the Knicks right, man. They've been playing great. Jalen Brunson, I had some concerns about his health, but of course he's been the floor general, you know, Captain Clutch, they call him. He has been unbelievable. Karl Anthony Towns has shown up. I've been preaching this the whole time that we need Karl Anthony Towns because that's why we traded for him. But Mikal Bridges, man, he's been kind of underperforming. And then all of a sudden, those 2 games in Boston, he just kind of all of a sudden showed up here real quick and has been not only scoring timely points, but the steals at the end of the games to just be aware of the situation and be in the right place at the right time. Is phenomenal. So, but my biggest question is, man, what's going on with the Boston Celtics? Jason Tatum has been underperforming. They've been shooting 25% from three, about 36% from the field. They have literally shot themselves out of winning games. So is it because of the Celtics being in love with the three that is ruining those first two games for them? Or is there something deeper with this Celtics team, man? What are your thoughts?
What I look at with the Celtics is that they lack size. Now, one thing about you guys, Karl Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, you guys are a lengthy squad. With Porzingis out, they can't spread the floor. Like the Celtics just cannot spread the floor. When Porzingis is playing, the floor is spread out because he can beat you inside. He can beat you from 18 feet. He can beat you from the mid-range. That's just something that Porzingis can do. Right. But what I don't understand also, too, is that regardless of that, the Celtics have won games without him. It just seems like every time they don't have him, it's like they don't know what to do. They've got Tatum. They've got Brown. Derek White has came in there and played very well. Pat Pritchard has played well off of the bench. They have a deep enough squad to do it. It's just that New York, to me, is more physical. They're a physical squad. They can back down. And one person that I think that you forgot to talk about is Josh Hart. That man right there is
Hart.
Yes. He's put together. That's my guy right there. Now, Brunson Burner, I got to give credit to him. I love Brunson Burner. That's my guy. I like him a lot. That lefty, the way he can switch hands, he can beat you off the dribble. He can shoot it well. He can get to the basket. But Josh Hart is that guy that I think the Celtics forget about. He put up 23 in the last game. And I just think they just forget about him. I don't know what for. They're afraid of what Jalen Brunson can do, what Karl Anthony Towns can do. And they just forget about Josh Hart. So that, to me, is a guy that I think that they forget. But to me, it's a mental thing with the Celtics, that and the lack of size and the lack of physicality. Carson did say it last year. They're one of the softest squads that they have that win. The Celtics, to me, they don't guard well in the painted area. The Knicks know how to get offensive rebounds. They beat them on the glass. And you got to win on the glass in order to beat the New York Knicks. And that's something that the Boston Celtics have not done.
And I wonder if that has to do with the first round. Because, that first round, Boston played Orlando. It was a tough series for them, but it wasn't a hugely physical series. Whereas those Knicks played the Detroit Pistons, and that was a knockdown, drag out. That was a physical game, physical series. So I wonder if that has something to do with it. I'm a little disappointed in just the way Boston's defense has been. They just have had no defense. It's bad enough you're shooting yourself out of the games. And why they're not changing the game plan around to that. They had the issues in game one, and it literally just mirrored itself in game two with the exact same issues. There was no change. There was no change in defense. There was no sense of urgency on the faces of these guys. Look, you're the defending champs. Everybody wants to come after you, especially you got a New York Boston mix too. So, other question is with these New York Knicks, do you think the Knicks have enough to take Boston out and get to the next round, or were these first two games an abnormality?
I think that they do. One of my questions coming into this series is that were the New York Knicks going to be the squad that showed up and beat Boston, or that squad that we've seen all season where they've been consistently the third best team in the Eastern Conference? It's been Cleveland, Boston, New York the whole time this year. There might have been a drop off. The Magic had a lot of injuries this year. They probably could have. Milwaukee couldn't get it done. Indiana wasn't playing up to par until the tail end of the season at that time. So it's just been consistently those three teams. So I think the Knicks got a little tired of being that squad, that third best squad. And Boston, to me, and Boston's one of those teams. Boston will give up some games. They gave up a game to the Magic. I saw that coming. I felt like they would beat the Magic. I felt like they would. But a really, really good team would have swept that Magic squad. And Boston didn't do it. And that's what really perturbed me there. I knew that they would do it because Boston will give you some games. They've done it last year. They've done it the year before. They give games up. And I don't know what for, because you gotta beat these guys. You gotta crush them in the sledgehammer. It's playoffs. This ain't the regular season where okay, we're on our second game or our third game this week. We can kind of put it in cruise control because it's a long season. No, it's not a long. It's survive or die.
Right.
You gotta win. But to me though, if Boston messes around, because they were in the past two games, they were very much in the past two games, gave up leads, all that other stuff.
Right.
They gonna mess around and get swept if they keep it up. Though they probably could if New York, this next game is gonna say it to me for the Knicks. I believe it's gonna say if the Knicks go up 3-0, forget about it.
And that was going to be my other question here: is this third game? Who is this game more important to? Is this game more important to the Knicks or the Celtics? Because look, the Celtics, you go down 0-3. There's been 159 times that a team has gone down 0-3, and there's goose eggs. They've never come back. But this is the defending champs. They got Jason Tatum, who is probably one of the most underrated superstars in the NBA. I don't think he gets enough love, and that's hard for me to say wearing a Knicks jersey right now, but I don't think he does. He's not mentioned in the same breath when you talk about, Joker or Luka or LeBron or Edwards. Jason Tatum which he should, because he's all NBA. He's got a championship. It's like, why did they not put him in there? And I'm wondering if these are the kind of games that are that reason. But who is this game more important to, Knicks or Celtics?
Oh, it's definitely the Knicks, because if the Knicks go up 3, I don't see them giving up 4. I don't see it. Even on their worst game, I don't see them giving up 4, because if they get that third one, and especially with them with the home court advantage now, because we're going to Madison Square, we're going to Manhattan.
Right.
And so this is going to be tough for the Celtics. Now, they weren't supposed to win in TD. Not at all. They were not supposed to win in the Garden. They were not supposed to. They maybe won. And that first game was a surprise to the Celtics. But game 2, they should have been looking for that. And they didn't. But now that they're going back home, I don't see the New York Knicks. If the New York Knicks get the third one, if they get number 3, I don't see them losing 4 straight. I don't see it happening. This team is too mentally strong. This team is too tough, because they had a tough series with Detroit. No one saw that. I didn't see that coming. I didn't see it coming. Now, I knew Detroit would play, but I didn't think their best was enough for the Knicks, because they're coming off that bad season. They've got new coaching. Now, they've had guys show up, like Schroeder showed up. They had, and then Kate Cunningham played very, very well.
Yes.
And got to give credit where credit is due, but just the Knicks, the Knicks were too much. They were just too much, too strong. And I think the fact that the Knicks are playing with that momentum right there, it's hard for them to beat. So I see the Knicks. If the Knicks get number 3, forget about it. Boston's gone.
I'm hoping so. And this game is going to be pivotal for the New York Knicks. Don't let Boston come in and blow you out, because not only that, this game tonight in the Garden is going to be rocking. This is probably going to be one of the biggest Knicks playoff games probably in their history. Right now, it's one of the most expensive tickets in town. It's like, for a ticket average, I'm talking nosebleed at the top with the pigeons, you're at like $900 a ticket. So this is poised to be a letdown, and that's what I'm really hoping. The New York Knicks come with some fire and don't go down 20. You have to set the pace. You have to set the tone. Get out there, play like you've been playing. I want to see OG Anunoby go right at Derek White again and dunk it in his face again. I know that was called an offensive foul, but I don't think it was, man. But, let them play. And that's the other thing, too, is, with these playoffs here, the referees have been kind of a little gentle on the whistle here, which I like. I like that kind of, aggressive playing. But, man, as a Knicks fan, this is exciting. I'm also worried. I'm glad we didn't get swept, but I don't want to lose the last 4 because you can't win like we have the first 2 games, and then let them come back and sweep you in 4. To me, that's not a good look. But you have Jalen Brunson. I still think Jalen Brunson is one of my MVPs, my crack image staff right here. But again, Karl Anthony Towns, I think, is the key. He's a big man. He needs to play down low. He needs to get those Celtics into foul trouble. He needs to set the pace, get boards, just, push people around. Again, it's that old school basketball that we don't see anymore. And perimeter defense, don't let Boston get hot. Let that sink into their head, how cold they've been shooting from 3. Make it hard for them. Every time they want to chuck up a 3, be in their face and get them in that 25% range again, and they will start doubting themselves, and let them shoot themselves out of the garden. So I'm excited. I can't wait to watch the game. Dicks, don't let me down. All right, let's jump in. I got a quick question on the Cavs and the Pacers, man. Pacers, that's like watching the Indianapolis 500. You talk about a fast, fun team to watch. They have definitely hit the Cavs in the mouth, the number 1 team in the league, having some issues. Although game 3, they played much, much better, but they got their 3 guys back too. I think that helped also. Darius Garland in some foul trouble in game 3, but still was able to at least be out there. Evan Mobley, I think, was the key that they were missing on that team. But the Cavs still got blasted in two games there, and especially that second game being up. I think they were up 17 in the third, and then Indiana just, like, again, afterburners, put the afterburners on and blew right by them. Wire to wire number 1, and then all of a sudden you got like the 4th team in the NBA to kind of just smack you around like that. Is that a concern for these Cavs, or can you still see them kind of righting the ship and winning this series and getting back to the number 1 Cavs that we've seen all year?
Anytime you're down 0-2 is a concern. So there is concern with Cleveland. I do believe it should be concern. I mean, I think that this squad is in trouble. I think they are. Like, I feel like the Boston Celtics are in trouble. I feel like Cleveland is in trouble. The only difference with Cleveland is the health issue has been the thing for them. They haven't been healthy, haven't had their core guys in there along with their other core guys as well too. So I think that's what the issue is. Although they're down 0-2, I think Cleveland will come back. I think they may come back and win it. It may take 7 games for them to do it, but I think that they will put it together, and I think they'll get it done. I think that Cleveland, the reasoning for that is because of how good they are as a team. The fact that they can get the quick switches back to what they were, because, in the regular season, their star players didn't play over 32 minutes a game.
Right.
So they were able to get those switches. So it's kind of hard when Mobley goes down and Garland goes down. You got to dig into your bench.
Right.
You've dug into your bench all year, yeah, but at the end of the day, your bench players are playing a little more than what your starters have. So the chemistry isn't there like it was. I love Ty Jerome and the great shooting that he's had, but he's a bench player.
Missing.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
MIA.
Yes, he's a bench player. That's what gets me. He's not a starting guy. He's not that starter. He's a bench player. And some of these guys, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's good that you're a solid role player and that you're able to come in there when your guy may be a little tired, or there might be some foul trouble or something like that. That's okay. You need players like that.
Right.
But I don't need Ty Jerome playing 25 to 30 minutes. You don't want that, because I mean, at the end of the day, that's not what he's paid for. That's not what he does. You need your guys in there. But I think when Cleveland gets all their guys back in, I think they'll be fine. Indiana's playing some good basketball right now. Yes, they are. But I think Cleveland might have something for them now that they're getting back healthy.
Right. But I had Cleveland all year. I had them going to the finals because, again, you talk about a complete team from top to bottom. They, to me, were one of the most consistent teams in the league. They had the length, rebound, defense, and I think that's something that was missing those first two games. You're kind of seeing it and saw it in that third game. They started kind of, okay, let's get back to what we were good at, which was, crashing the boards, rebound, playing some defense, timely shots, high percentage shots. Again, not in love with the three, getting down low. But on the flip side with the Pacers, man, Tyrese Halliburton has something to prove. And, starting with the last series, now into this series, voted by his peers as the most overrated superstar in the NBA, which, to me, I think that's a good thing. That's one of those things that when people hate on you, you got to be doing something right. So, if your name is on, if my name is on your mouth, whether it be good or bad, obviously I'm doing something to get under your skin. So, how much have these playoffs been a chip on Ty Halliburton's shoulder to come out and play well because of that?
He has been lighting it up, man. And you can't tell me that he hasn't been reading those mean tweets, been reading that hate online, and all year, and especially with the Indiana Pacers coming in as one of the hottest teams to end the season.
Right.
And then go in there and win convincingly. I know Milwaukee was dealing with the injury problems and nobody helped Giannis. I get it. But at the end of the day, Giannis is one of the greatest players in the world. And you were able to beat that squad. But that just shows me, and Tyrese Halliburton, the thing with me is what I like about him, he's very resilient. He shows he has thick skin. He made fun of himself because he was on that USA team. He didn't get a minute. He didn't get not 1 minute in the Olympics. And he put that meme up of him with his gold medal saying, when you don't do anything for the group project and you still get the A, that shows me right there that he's got some character about him. He can laugh at himself. He can take a joke. But, my Uncle Scott said it best, 80% of a joke is reality. And so that's what makes it funny.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, for real, I thought it was the coolest thing in the world when he told me that, though, for real. But there's reality, and that's the reason why it's funny, because there's reality involved in it.
Right.
And so he's like, all right, cool. Jokes are over. It's time for me to go out there and show you what I got. And, man, he has. I really don't want to go against the Pacers. I don't, because of how he's playing, because I like that resiliency and how well he's played. I think Cleveland's got something for him. But as long as he's still playing at a high level, I'm going to watch him.
Right. Yeah, and he definitely has something to prove, and he has showed up in these playoffs. I still kind of have the Pacers a little bit. Again, I picked Cleveland at the beginning of this thing, but I'm concerned because, again, how fast and how well those Pacers can play.
Yes.
Be very concerned, Cleveland, because I am concerned about their health. How long can Garland stay out there? Can Mobley stay healthy? Hunter, can he stay healthy? Mitchell can't do it by himself. So that's going to be the key here. So it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the series goes. I still think it goes 7 games. So very, very excited to see who comes out of that one ahead. So let's jump west side. Let's jump on the west side here real quick, because the Thunder roll. They smashed the Nuggets after being beat Game 1, came back in Game 2 with a 43-point victory. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander tops the Joker. I think this is going to be, again, a great series. You got two of the greatest basketball players on the planet playing against each other right now. To me, Joker's number one. I'd have to put Shai number two.
Oh, yeah.
As the best basketball players on the planet. But my question, and it drives me nuts, is the MVP award. Because to me, Joker's the MVP. You, the dad bod god, you average a triple-double. You are the guy on your team. Your team is a last-place team without you. Shai, he's got some other guys on that squad. I know he's extremely important to that Oklahoma City Thunder team too. But I think if you take him away, I think they still win some games. They still got some guys on that team that are really, really good. But he just kind of takes them over the top, and that's why they won 60 games. But they won 60 games last year and kind of fell flat in the playoffs. And I got a little nervous with that with game one. But is the MVP award an MVP just for regular season, or should the MVP award encompass the playoffs also?
You know, you forced me to do some research today.
Yes.
When you posed that question to me, and I had to look at it. You know, of course, Joke won the MVP last year. You know, Denver didn't get as far in the playoffs as they did when he won the MVP prior.
Right.
So I feel like that was regular season. Then, of course, you know, Joel Embiid won it the following year. That was definitely regular season to me. And, you know, Joke won it 2 years after that. But then the 1 year kind of spoiled everyone because they won the championship that year.
Right.
But still, there's no way you're going to look at Joker and think that he was not MVP in those years. This year, last year, the 2 years he won it prior. You can't sit here and tell me that. And, you know, you forced me to think about it. That 06-07 Dallas Mavericks squad that won 60 games, and Dirk Nowitzki went absolutely nuts in that regular season. But then they end up losing to Golden State in 6 games, and they were the 1 seed.
Right.
And there were people saying, oh, okay, we're still going to give Dirk the MVP for the season. There was people like, man, no way. They got swept. They were the number 1 seed and got swept. But the dude had a wonderful regular season.
Right.
So it's kind of like, okay, you still got to look at the regular season he had. Yeah, they blew it in the playoffs. I get it. But that man's regular season was nuts. So the more I think about it, I think this award is more of a regular season award than what we think it is.
Right.
I think we kind of get blinded by, you know, what Joker does, what Jokic does. And you see him in the playoffs, and okay, he might not get as far as he did when they won the title, but yet still, look at man's regular season. Russ won a MVP off of a regular season.
Right.
Kobe's won one off of a regular season. There's not really been a lot of guys who won championships and won the MVP in this era that we're in. You know, Jokic was probably the last one to do it. Giannis done it in 2019.
Right.
But that's the more I think about it, it's more regular season than what we think it is.
Right. And it's funny you brought up that Nowitzki MVP, because I actually I can remember the press conference.
Yes.
I remember how subdued he was, how almost embarrassed he was for accepting the award after they lost. Like, it's almost like he didn't even want to be there. He did not want the award. And you can see that. And it's, if they're going to do that, if the NBA wants the MVP to be a strictly regular season award, give it out before the playoffs start. As soon as the regular season ends, vote. Here's our MVP. Now let's get on with the playoffs. And then we can have our finals MVP or whatever you want to do for the playoffs. But if you're gonna strictly make the MVP award a regular season award, you should have announced it already. Because you get into a series like this where you're watching these two heavyweights battle each other. You watch Joker have a phenomenal game. Then you watch Shai have a phenomenal game. So, like, okay, whoever comes out on top, maybe that they you know, the way they perform, that sways them. Like, okay, he bested him, and then you're going to give the guy that lost the MVP award. So then it just taints the award. So that's why I'm like, okay, let's get the MVP award, get it out of the way. Now, the other question I have for you here that I want to throw in there, I'm going to throw this at you, is Nikola Jokic. best basketball player in the world. Is he falling victim to the LeBron James, Michael Jordan curse of the MVP? Like, okay, we could give it to him every year. He's the best basketball player, but we're not going to give it to him every year because we know he's the best basketball player. So we're going to give it to the second guy. So do you think that is affecting Nikola Jokic? Do you think that kind of I don't know if it's an unwritten rule, but that tends to happen a lot where, LeBron James probably could have been the MVP of the league 10 years in a row, but they're not going to give it to him 10 years in a row because we can't just give it to the same guy 10 years in a row. So do you think because Nikola Jokic is kind of that guy right now that can win it every year, is that why he's not going to win it? Or is it more that, okay, somebody else is besting him? I figured I hit you with that one. I know it's a deep one. Sorry.
No, I understand that, but you're right. You bring up a really, really good point because you can't tell me that he's not the best basketball player in the world. Number one, you're absolutely correct. I mean, you've seen the highlights, you've seen the way he plays. You take him away from that Denver squad. Denver's not the squad that they are. So I don't care what he says. You can take Shai away. You can take Donovan Mitchell. Granted, you can take Jason Tatum away. I mean, it happened in the finals last year. You know, Jaylen Brown ended up doing what he did and got finals MVP. But Nikola Jokic, not with the Denver Nuggets. I don't think the Denver Nuggets crack the playoffs. I don't think they do. But I think he is in that territory because of his stature and his skill level. I mean, granted, Shai is scoring champion of the league. That's great.
Right.
But taking him away from OKC would be okay. The double bigs will be fine. They may not put up as much points as they do.
Right.
But they're going to be a bad basketball team. I really think if you take Joke away from Denver, they're a bad basketball team. I mean, he's the heart and soul of that squad. And it's so effortless. Just the way that he plays and how he makes these plays is effortless. And I'm like, man, it's insane. It's a joy to watch him. But I think he may be getting into that territory because, at the end of the day, they're probably going to end up giving the MVP to the guy that might have just got the better of him in the head-to-head matchup. Like in the season. Like, Shai got better than him and they played 5 games and Shai won 3 of those games and he won 2. Okay. He wins the MVP this year. I understand what the league is doing. I get it because it is cool to have fresh blood when it comes down to winning these awards. It is cool. I get it. But at the end of the day, you got to start telling these guys, you're going to have to get better. You're going to have to beat this dude.
And that's to me, and that's the thing for me. I understand if you want fresh blood, but that fresh blood better be better than the guy that you were going to give it to.
Yes.
Look, Shai is great.
Yes.
Top 2. Second, in the world. Give it to him. Yes. But what Nikola Jokic has done this year, his best statistical season, he's averaging a triple-double. He averaged a triple-double this season. For a big man to do what he does on the court, that's one thing, but he's gotten better. So it's not like, okay, he's just Nikola Jokic. He's kind of, all right, he's putting up the same numbers. All right, he's Mr. Consistent. Yeah, let's find somebody that kind of had some better stats here or better stats there. He's getting better every year.
Yes.
And to me, that's where I'm like, dude, you got to put him as an MVP. Don't play this whole, we can't give it to him again because he's got too many of them. That stuff drives me nuts. Best basketball player needs to get it. Most important to his team needs to get it. Stop all the Jordan rules or whatever you want to call them. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But again, NBA, if you want the MVP award to be a regular season award, announce it right after the regular season, right before the playoffs start. Do a little fanfare. Give it to whoever you want. And then let's focus on the playoffs so it doesn't taint the award. That's all I'm saying.
I like it. I like
Other
it.
game, other series we got in the West there, Warriors T-Wolves. I feel bad for the Warriors. Man, it's hard enough you're fighting an uphill battle against the Minnesota Timberwolves. You got one, which was super exciting, but the T-Wolves just, blew right by you. They had their own little injury scare too. Woo. I know Minnesota held its collective breath when Edwards got his ankle stepped on. But right now, Curry hurt. He's got at least 2 more games. I wouldn't even suspect he'll be back. I think he's done for the year. It's gonna hard. I think just the way he was talking in that press conference and the way he sounded, it sounded like a funeral.
Mhm.
It didn't sound like he knew his body was going to pop back that fast. Look, at 37 years old, stuff don't pop back fast. Trust me, man. It's hard to get out of bed in the morning sometimes. When you start getting a little older, things get a little creaky a little bit. So I get you, Steph. I get you. But
Mhm.
I mean, truly, are these Warriors done? You got Steph hurt. Draymond Green is on the border of just his fifth tech. He's only 2 more away from getting the automatic suspension. So he's doing Draymond Green things. So I understand his frustration, but it's definitely coming out, and I think it'll come out even more in this series. But are the Warriors done? Is this a flatline situation?
It's really weird that everywhere that Jimmy Butler goes, it just winds up being on his shoulders. I mean, how does this happen? I mean, how? How?
You
Chicago.
get the label playoff Jimmy. It's like, here, there you go.
I
Playoff
mean,
Jimmy. Here.
how? I don't get it. How does this happen? Chicago, Minnesota, Philadelphia, Miami. It doesn't matter. It's like, oh man, it's like, and you can't help this right here. You can't help one part. You can't help one part. You can't help Steph getting hurt.
Yeah.
Draymond can chill with all the texts. He just chooses not to. It's in his nature. I
Yep.
understand. But now it's left on Jimmy and some role players. A Buddy Hield, a Pazinski, those guys. I mean, it's tough being Jimmy Butler. It ain't easy being Jimmy B. It ain't easy being him. I mean, for real. So once again, he's got to do it himself.
He's getting paid enough. He's okay. He's getting enough money. He'll be all right.
He does, man. But Lord, he's got to do it himself. But yeah, just to answer your question, I really think that it's a wrap. I think it's done. It's over for Golden State. They played a very, very tough series with the Houston Rockets. It was like last year when they played the Sacramento Kings and they had to play extra games with the Kings. The Kings
Right.
played tough, but and once again, this is where I look at a certain person by the name of Michael Davis and telling him, "What did I tell you about extending Steph Curry's contract? You want to talk about who the man is on that squad? It's Steph Curry. So
Right.
pay him all money. Sign the check, dog. He knows what I'm talking about from that episode of Out of
Right.
Pocket. Me and Trevor, we told him either you pay Steph or you pay him. There's no middle ground. There's no negotiation. There's no maybe next year you pay him or you pay him. And so yes, but yeah, Golden State, they're done.
And I can see that too. I mean, I feel bad. They did play a heck of a series against the Rockets. I was a little disappointed in the Rockets. I had them getting through there, but
Man.
it is hard to bet against Steph Curry. But when you're down Curry, when you got a hamstring and them things linger too, man, they just do not have enough. The one thing I do like and am going to miss with this Golden State Warriors team is the to and fro that is Jimmy Buckets and Buddy Hield, the way they their press conferences, and I don't know if Jimmy Butler really does hate Buddy Hield or what they got going on, but it is comical. I am going to miss that, but no, Golden State is missing something. Steph Curry is still the greatest shooter God ever created. And I love Jimmy Butler, but Jimmy Butler's not 25 anymore. Draymond Green ain't young no more. They got some good role players, but they're missing somebody else. So I have a feeling this offseason you're going to see Golden State try to go after either a free agent or try to make some trades to get another guy in there to pair with Jimmy and Steph Curry, because they need a younger third guy. They can't get another dinosaur in there. They need a little help, especially as tough as the West is right now, because the West is the gauntlet that it is. So it's disappointing to see. We miss having the Golden State Warriors, in the finals and really playing for championships. But I don't think you're going to see Steph the rest of the series. I think he's done, unfortunately. So, but we're going to take a timeout. A little deep breath here. Talking a lot of basketball, but some things in here on 3 from Deep. I like to touch a little bit on everything. And I know you've been watching the NHL playoffs here, and there's a lot of great hockey being played right now. And you talk about leads getting blown, some last-second shots, some overtime winners. There has been some craziness going on in the NHL. Why don't you give me a couple of teams that you are ecstatic that they're playing well, and has anybody in these playoffs changed your mind on who you had moving forward?
Okay, the team that I'm ecstatic about that is playing really, really well is got to be the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Really?
I'm surprised. Okay, so the story of the Toronto Maple Leafs, last year they had a good squad last year. They got ousted in playoffs early. This squad that they have right now, Nylander, Matthews, Marner, Anthony Stolarz in the goal. This squad looks like they can win the Eastern Conference. I'm holding out hope that they can get past Florida, who I absolutely slept on. I thought Tampa Bay was going to beat them. They sure did not. But I shouldn't have went against the defending champs, and that was on me. I should have known that. But I thought that the injuries to Kachuk, I thought Rat not being able to play as much as he did, which was the second trade that happened after Rantanen. He was the second trade. Marchand going to Florida from the Boston Bruins. But I think that Toronto has a very, very good chance of going to the Stanley Cup Finals. I think that they do.
Really?
I think they do. Getting past Florida is going to be good for them. They're up 2-0, and they're up 2-0 right now as we speak. But Florida still is not done yet. But I think Toronto will get past them. I'm very excited about the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's the squad that I'm very excited about.
You're giving Canada hope, dude.
Yes.
Canada the Toronto Maple Leafs. And for those that don't kind of know hockey, the Toronto Maple Leafs are kind of like, they're like the Chicago Cubs of the NHL. They just haven't won in 157 years. They always have these great teams and then fall short. And whenever they lose in the playoffs, you can literally hear Canada sigh, and then not again. So you're giving Canada hope, man. I like that.
Yeah.
Canada needs they need a little love right now. Let's show a little love to Canada. I know our relations right now with us and Canada, a little tension right now. So I like that you're giving that Toronto a little bit of love there. But that franchise
needs it.
If they won the Stanley Cup, I literally think that Canada, it would lose their minds. I mean, I think you would hear them party from here.
You will not shut them up if that happens. You will not shut them up, man.
There will be a lot of A's flying around out here. Canadian A, you'd be hearing that. Holy cow! So sorry, I didn't want to interrupt, man. But
you're good.
And then has anybody changed? Like, so the guys you kind of had moving forward or getting to the finals, has anybody changed your mind here on the way they're playing?
Oh yeah. And I hate to say it, but the Winnipeg Jets have changed my mind a lot. I thought the Jets were going to go through the St. Louis Blues. They go 7 games and need an overtime to beat the Blues. The Blues were playing very good hockey. I thought they were going to get it done. And I know that if my man Brett Wiseman is watching this show, he's probably throwing stuff at the TV because he's a big St. Louis Blues fan. I texted him 7 minutes during the game when the Blues were up and said they just might do this. He said, fingers crossed. And then after that, Winnipeg just started scoring. And I'm just like, wow, terrible. You feel terrible. I'm like, I did that. That was me. I'm sorry. And I gotta get Brett back. I gotta repay him because I know that hurt him. And I'm sorry for that, man. Brett, you're still my guy. But the Winnipeg Jets have really changed my mind because I'm like, man, the President's Trophy, you won the President's Trophy, you were the darling of the league, with a new coach and the winning streak in the beginning, and Connor Hellebuck could be the first goalie to win the Hart Trophy since Carey Price in 2015, and now, and here we go with this whole MVP thing. When we're talking about the MVP being a regular season award,
right?
The front runners, the only MVP front runner that's played very, very well in this playoff is Leon Draisaitl, and Connor McDavid is playing better than him. So all the other guys, Kucherov is out, Nathan McKinnon is out, Connor Hellebuck almost got out, and he's been exposed by the St. Louis Blues. So that to me is kind of getting me there. They've really not played, but I know they've had injuries. Scheifele got hurt. I know that was a big blow to them, but they're playing the Dallas Stars squad. And Mikko Rantanen, of course, taking out my childhood team with the hat trick. Then the first game they play against the Winnipeg Jets, he gets another hat trick. He's starting to play catching fire now, and that's going to help the Dallas Stars a lot. So I'm a little worried with them going against the Dallas Stars, the Winnipeg Jets. I'm a little worried about them because if the Stars catch fire, scoring. And then Jake Ottinger is playing very well in goal. It's going to be a long series.
Wow. Interesting, man. Well, I know you're watching it intently, so I appreciate you giving me that little bit during the timeout here. We're going to tie in. Now I'm really excited because I'm going to do something I've never done on the show before. I've had some guests on here that have played along with me, but dude, we gonna alley-oop it. We're not doing a little layup line. I'm literally gonna throw the ball up to you because I am so excited to touch base and talk about the WNBA season that's about to start. I think this is going to be the biggest season in that history of the league, with everything going on, with as much women's sports has grown over the past, not only a couple of years, but years, of course. You have the Caitlin Clark effect going on. But, man, I'm going to pass this off to you. I'm going to throw you to alley-oop. I want you to kind of take over, man. The reins are yours.
All right.
It's on you, man. Let's go.
All right. So, of course, everyone who has watched the WNBA draft knows that Paige Becker went first to the Dallas Wings. We all saw it. We all knew it. So, NY, what is your expectations for Paige Becker this year? Rookie of the Year front runner. How's she going to do? What you think?
I definitely there, but to me, I think it's bigger than that. I want her to be healthy, knock on wood, first of all. I know she's had some injury issues in college. Storybook ending to her career, having a healthy season, and then coming back and winning a national championship. So phenomenal. Disney, write a movie. Let's do it. But to me, it has to do a lot with the city, with Dallas. And to me, this is going to be the Luka effect. Right now, Dallas is dying for somebody. They are emotionally destroyed by losing Luka Doncic. That whole city is a mess. They literally had their prodigal son ripped away from them and sent to LA. Now enter Paige Beckers. So I don't know if it's fair to her, but now it's her. Now this is somebody the city can wrap their arms around, a superstar, number one pick in the draft. Paige, we need you. We lost Luka, so now you're going to be our star. You're going to be our person we're going to put on the billboards. So I don't even know Rookie of the Year. I think she has the talent to do that, but to me, it's more than that. To me, healthy season, play well, but I want to see what she does for that city because they need a superstar to help them recover And I think this was perfect timing for Paige Beckers. If there's anybody out there, I think that could kind of take that mantle and deal with the emotional stress of everything she's been through, everything she went through college, the struggles, the injuries, the getting back to the mountaintop. I think she can use that as motivation, as kind of that vibe to go to Dallas and become the face of a city that lost the face earlier. That's just what I was thinking. I don't know if you're kind of thinking the same thing. I know you may be thinking more of a basketball thing, but sometimes in sport, there's things bigger than the sport itself. And when you talk about a community and how much athletes mean to a community and how they had one ripped away, this is a nice way of going, okay, guys, here, now you have the first pick. You have the darling of the, college basketball comes to your city. Is Paige Beckers going to be able to help that city recover from the Luka effect? And that's where I was looking at it.
You know what, man? I didn't really think about that, but I like that answer. I mean, considering the fact that they did lose Luca, they ended up getting Miko Rantanen in Dallas for the Stars. If the Stars can't get to the Stanley Cup Finals, I get it. But this is big because she's the number one pick. I do like that answer. I do want to see how she does with Arike Gumbawale, who was the scoring champion of the WNBA this year. They made some moves in Dallas to get some players in there to get better because Dallas was the low squad. That's why they won the lottery. That's why they were in the draft lottery. They were
Right.
they were the worst squad in the WNBA. So of course, but I love that answer. I like it. So we're gonna go next because, and NY, and I both know, we've lived through the Major League Baseball strike. We lived through the NBA lock. We've lived through those. This is something that I read this year. When your New York Liberty won the WNBA Finals, the next day, the WNBA PA opted out of their collective bargaining agreement with the WNBA. The PA, they said no. They opted out 2 years ahead of time. They saw it coming. They knew. Now, this year is a very pivotal year. There are WNBA players saying that they're willing to sit in 2026. They're willing to sit. If a collective bargaining agreement doesn't get set, they're willing to sit. So I'm asking you right now, WNBA players willing to sit out in 2026, fair or foul?
Fair. There needs to be equality out there. The Ladies Soccer Association there for the USA kind of started this a few years back when they looked for equal pay, because you talk about the women's soccer team winning World Cups, the men's soccer team not really winning anything but getting paid 3 times as much. I mean, because when it's all said and done, this is all about money. So I can see them sitting. Look, the WNBA and women's sports has never been as popular as it is right now. There is a ton of money flowing into these organizations, which they deserve. A lot of these owners took the chance on the WNBA. A lot of them, were operating at little or no profit at all, just to kind of keep it going. So I appreciate that. That's exciting that they're finally going to get some revenue stream. They're on TV more. They're getting more, advertising and all this other kind of all this media stuff. So they're making money. But look, the average salary in the WNBA in 2022 was $102,000. In 2024, it went up to $147,000, which for guys like you and me, $147,000 a year, dude. I'm like Scrooge McDuck. I'm swimming in like money. But if you look at the NBA and the average salary in the NBA, it's $11 million. Now, granted, I know the NBA takes in billions of dollars more, but the WNBA is making more money. And it's not even like they want more of that. They want increased salaries. They want better working conditions, which to me, when you're asking for better working conditions, it's like, okay, are they playing in gyms with no AC or I guess we don't see a lot of that behind the scenes. So when you hear something like that, that concerns me. Is like, okay, what are you subjecting these women to who are putting their bodies on the line, doing the same thing as the men, getting paid nothing? Because, if you're making 147 grand a year, by the time you take out taxes, by the time you take out all the other costs, your agent gets a cut, everybody's getting a cut. You're not making very much money. You're probably working on the side, and a lot of these ladies do. A lot of them go overseas and play ball. Look what happened to Brittany Griner. She had to go overseas and play ball to make some extra money, and then that happened to her. But health benefits, like when you're fighting for better health benefits, that to me is like, again, it's 2025, and we're not concerned about these ladies' health, and then investments in some other things. So I can see why they want to do it, and I understand that they just want it to be fair. They want to play the game of basketball that they love. They want to give blood, sweat, and tears, which they do, and they just want to be compensated for it. They want to be happy and healthy going to work, like what we expect when we go to work. So I can see them sitting. I hope they do not have to do that, because I think if they sit out, I think that's going to have a lot of negative repercussions. Not because they're not because they're doing it, is just because the momentum that they have gained over the last few years of how the popularity has started steamrolling. I think if they sit out and lose a year, I think that all comes to a screeching halt. And that's what scares me. So I hope they get this settled. I hope they get it figured out. But I am concerned, because I don't want to see them sit out. I want to see them. Let's nail it out. Let's get what they want. Let's all come to an understanding. It's that whole adage of, if both parties leave unhappy, that means it was a good deal. So let's make a good deal, so these ladies can continue to play basketball, and the revenue stream can continue to come in and not stop the momentum. What are your thoughts?
You know what? I'm saying fair as well too, because the WNBA had a 48% increase in this past season alone. 22 games in the regular season were over 1 million viewers, and the WNBA finals, 1 million viewers throughout the whole series. So the WNBA is making money. They've already signed a deal for the television rights. They already signed a deal, like the ladies they're getting increased money. They're going to be increasing the salaries very soon. But the reason they opted out of this was in 2020, when they signed this, of course, COVID happened.
Right.
And have what they have now because of COVID. But these players right now, and the unrivaled league that Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier founded this year, got $30 million alone.
Woo.
They played from January to March, and they grossed $30 million.
Wow.
Alone.
Wow.
Paige Beckers signed a 3-year deal with Unrivaled. So she could make more money playing for the Unrivaled League than her rookie contract in the WNBA.
That's crazy.
So that tells you the story right there. The money's there. And the basketball has gotten there. Now, the basketball's got more popular. Caitlin Clark had a lot to do with that, with her coming out of college. Yes, we've had players that were very, very great. The great Sue Bird, the great Maya Moore, being put into the Naismith Hall of Fame this year, which was incredible. We've had great women's basketball players over the years, but it just seemed like the viewers really didn't care. And it just seemed like, oh, it's just women's basketball. Yeah, okay, whatever. But now that the women's basketball has gotten better, more viewership, the money's coming in. And these players are seeing the residuals. They're seeing it. And they're like, hey, look, you wouldn't be getting this if it wasn't for us.
Right.
So get us, compensate us. And what they're asking for is not really anything crazy, like you just pointed out. They want better health conditions. They want health care. They want pensions for retired players. This is not stuff that is like really bad. They're not bad.
No.
They're asking for, we want a beauty parlor here. We want this in the locker room. We want this in the stadium. They're not asking for dumb stuff. They're not asking for that aren't manageable, aren't feasible. They're asking for what you and me would like from the workplace. Healthcare, being taken care of, safer working conditions.
Right.
That's stuff that shouldn't have to be asked for, but it's being asked for. So, hey, totally fair to me. Now, I said her name. And now I got to put it in this question here. So ESPN dropped their top 25 players preseason before the season begins with the WNBA. So number 1 is a no-brainer, A'ja Wilson. She's my favorite player. I love A'ja. Then number 2, of course, Napheesa Collier, one of the best defenders in the WNBA at the low post position anywhere on the court. Napheesa is a great defensive player. I love her. She's awesome. Then Breanna Stewart from your New York Liberty, number 3. And number 4 is Caitlin Clark. So, early consideration for MVP?
And I thought about this a lot too, because there's a lot of great players on this list. I mean, you look at the top 10 behind Clark, Alyssa Thomas, Mrs. Jones from the Liberty herself, Sabrina Ionescu. So we got 3 in the top 10. It's just Caitlin Clark has the talent, and I think she is a very talented basketball player. But I don't know if I can see her as an MVP quite yet. I don't think her game on the pros has developed that way yet. There's the Caitlin Clark effect. She has affected women's basketball to the nth degree. She has affected women's sports in general over the past year, 2 years, which is amazing. It's about time that the ladies get the love they deserve, because they work as hard, if not harder, than the men, and don't get nearly enough credit. And again, I go back to the USA women's soccer team, who kind of started this with some of the unfair things that they had to deal with, especially after winning multiple World Cups. But Caitlin Clark, top 5, number 4, I think is a little bit of a stretch for her talent. I have her. I think I have her in the top 10. I would make her maybe 10. Right behind maybe Kelsey Plum. You got Miss Young out of Vegas too. I just can't put her at 4, because I think her popularity outweighs her game. I don't think she quite has the WNBA game yet. I understand why they put her there, because it's hard not to put her on this list. I'm sure Miss Angel Reese likes seeing her at number 4, with a little bit of the back and forth that they have and the little rivalry that they got. But I think it's a stretch. When it all comes down to it, she has the talent to improve her game. And I think this year is ultimately going to show if she's going to take that next step, if she's over the hump and not only into the playoffs, but far into the playoffs, if she's going to take control of the WNBA and be like A'ja dominant. You have to be, look, if you're in top 5, you have to be dominant. And I just don't see Caitlin Clark as WNBA dominant as of right now. She has talent, but I think this is a little much. I think this is more popularity contest than her actually being able to play basketball. Just my thought.
You know, I'm glad that you brought that up, and I'm glad, I think we're on the same wavelength here because there are times where the most talented player is not the most popular player. To me, the list is number one, Asia Wilson, number two, everybody else. Everybody else battle it out for 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Right.
Everybody battle it out because, you know, Asia is a unanimous MVP. Last year, she was unanimous MVP. No one voted against her. Everyone voted for her. First WNBA player with 1,000 points. One of the most defensive players, one of the best defensive players.
Domination.
Yes.
Dominant.
Absolutely. She's won championships. She's the two-way player. She's the best two-way player in the WNBA, in my opinion. I love how she plays. I think you're right with the popularity contest. I think that is good. I don't want to say it's clickbait, but it kind of is clickbait if you want to be real about it, because putting her at number 4, you're going to be like, there's going to be people there to look at this list to say yes or to boo aggressively at this list. Because to me, I love the talent that she's got. They put a coach around her. They put a different coach around her. I didn't think that the coach that she had should have got fired at the end of this season, but they're making these alterations for her. They're pretty much giving her the Indiana fever and giving her an opportunity to be better. They want that squad to be better. I understand that. But to me, the most popular player is not the most talented player. Asia Wilson is the most talented. I know the shoe deal. She got the shoe deal, and that's wonderful. She's talented. She's popular to Las Vegas, and she's popular too, but she doesn't have the effect that Caitlin Clark has had. Although that is, I beg to differ on certain things. But I'm with you on that one. I think she should have been a little lower on this list. I think she should have been a little lower. I've been okay with number 7. I've been okay with 10.
7, 10 range. You throw her in there.
Yeah, I think 4 is a stretch.
That's a lot.
I think it's a big stretch. I mean,
you don't have a ring yet or nothing, and this is only your second year in the league.
Yeah, and all three of those players
should not be cracking. You should not be cracking top 10.
And all three of those players in front of her have won rings. They've won championships. They've won MVPs. They've won Defensive Player of the Year. They've won. So having a player that's not got at least one ring at number 4 just because people love her, all right, y'all chill. Y'all messing up a good thing here. Y'all mess up a good thing. So y'all relax. Time
Just bring an eyeball. Just bring an eyeballs.
Right. And time will tell.
Eyeballs.
And maybe
now I want to jump. I want to jump in here real quick. I have a question that I'm throwing out of left field. I was thinking about this earlier, so I'm going to put you on the spot here real quick. I know you're taking over, but I'm jumping in for a second. We just had Greg Popovich retire as a head coach, which I love Greg Pop. I think he's number 1, but we can have that argument later. But I was always impressed by Greg Popovich taking the chance and giving Becky Hammon the opportunity to be a coach in the NBA. And she actually got to coach an NBA game once when Greg Popovich got kicked out of the game. But my question to you is can you see Becky Hammon at some point in time making the transition and going into the NBA? Because I think if there's anybody who can kind of crack the glass ceiling, I think it's her, because of her mentor and the experience that she has to be able to take that leap. What are your thoughts on something like that? And I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. Do you think Becky Hammon at some time can be an NBA head coach?
Oh, yeah. I think that she can. I think she can. I think Dawn Staley can. Those are those are the two that I can think of that could probably coach the men's game and do very well and could win. Now, of course, I think Becky Hammon over Dawn Staley because of the pro experience. Now, I would like to see Dawn Staley coaching the WNBA. I'd like to see that. I don't think it's going to happen with how she's doing in South Carolina. I don't think they can pry her away from that school. I don't know if money's going to do it. I don't know. But Becky Hammon, to me, is very interesting because of the link that she has with the San Antonio Spurs and Greg Popovich. I could see that happening, and I would love to see that happening. I think that would be great. If there's anybody who could do it, it would have to be her or it'd have to be Dawn Staley. So, but Becky Hammon to me would probably make the most sense.
And I'd love to see it happen. And I always thought at some point in time, before she jumped to the WNBA and got the Aces job, I was hoping to see that because, again, I was very, I want to say proud to see Greg Popovich stand on his own too and do something like that. But I was kind of like waiting for it. Like, I'm gonna step down, Becky to team. I was always waiting for that. But I'd love to see her in the NBA. I think she can coach the game, and I think that's why the Aces play the way they do, because they play a pro style with that team. And it's, of course, it doesn't hurt having the best women's basketball player on the planet on your team. But I think that's why that team plays as well as it does, is they have Becky Hammon kind of coaching it as if it was an NBA team. So I wanted to throw that in there. I'm going to lob it back up to you, man, here. What else you got, buddy? What else you got?
Okay, the last two right here. So I'll go with this one. Which team are you looking forward to watching this year? I
Come on.
I know. I think I know.
I could say, the Liberty is the easy answer. I want to see my Liberty, back-to-back champions. I think that's, Brianna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu-Jones. I think that's, when you talk about legacy, and especially Stewart, who is already she was a great player before she even came to New York. So her kind of legacy was already set in stone. This is just kind of icing on the top and adding to it. But I would love to see them repeat. There's not one team. Of course, I want to see the Indiana Fever. I'd love to see the Caitlin Clark effect. I want to see what happens there. I want to see Dallas, Paige Beckers. I want to see her succeed for that city. And so that city has someone that can wrap their arms back around. I want to see Brink come back in the LA Sparks with Casey Plum. I want to see that dynamic. The Chicago Sky with Reese. Can Reese stop being a model for a hot minute and doing all the Insta stuff and flying all over the place and just focus on playing basketball? I mean, she gets angry a lot with the attention that Caitlin Clark gets. But, just show that on the court. And not that I'm knocking against you. Look, live your best life. I'm jealous sometimes when athletes get to do what they get to do and they get invited and they get to do all this cool stuff and go to the Met Gala and wear weird shit and all this other thing. Of course, I would love to do that. But it's when it's all said and done, man. When you're an athlete, I want to see it on the court. I want to put you on the walls. That's how you're remembered. You're not remembered by going to the Met Gala. You're remembered by hoisting stuff. So there's a bunch of teams that I'm excited to watch right now. And I'm just excited to see the season and how this plays out. Because, again, you talked about, the Players Association probably opting out. But, you got to look at the future. You have a new team. You got the Valkyries.
Mm-hmm.
You got a new squad this year, Next year, you're supposed to have two more. You got Toronto and Portland.
Yep.
So you have two more expansion teams. So the WNBA is growing, and that is exciting to see. I want to see a great season. I want to see them take care of this contract stuff, and I want to see the WNBA continue to flourish, because there has been so many great players before, and there's going to be great players after. Let's not muck it up here with the politics of sports.
Oh man, I like that. I mean, I'm a fan of the league as well too. I'm not like you and have a team, because unfortunately there is no Charlotte Sting here in North Carolina, not anymore. But it could come back. I don't know. So maybe this year I might pick a team. Maybe I keep telling myself every year, I'm going to pick a team. But it hasn't happened yet. But I'm loving it. I love the finals. The finals were great. I love these players. There are a lot of players that I love in this league. So I'm looking forward to it. Maybe I might pick one, might not. Who knows? But last, but definitely not least, I threw 3 questions at you. You chose this question. So I got to know, who is your GOAT of the WNBA?
That's a tough question too, man. I mean, you look at the infancy of the league and you look at the ladies that came before, and I appreciate why they're fighting for this new collective bargaining agreement to take care of those that built this league up and that helped this league become what it is today. You look at Elisa Leslie, a Cheryl Swoops, Fowles, Sue Bird, Maya Moore, Candace Parker. I mean, the list of great players goes on and on. You're talking about Hall of Fame, put them in the Hall of Fame, solidified, not only on the court, but off the court. Some of the things Maya Moore has done off the court with her philanthropy and what she has done is beyond phenomenal. But for me, my GOAT, Diana Taurasi. If you talk about just kind of pure basketball talent, longevity and greatness in a career from start to finish, 20 seasons, 3 NCAA championships, 3-time WNBA champion, gold medals, every kind of award you can think of, just consistent and it's one of those things. It's just when you think of women's basketball, it's like she should be the WNBA logo. She's that kind of iconic of a person when it comes to the sport of basketball. I think she's one of those people that a lot of the ladies today either try to emulate her game or are the reason why they play basketball. I know there's a lot of other ones, but Diana Taurasi, just some of the things that she has done for the women's game and for the game of basketball here and overseas. She is basketball. It's not just WNBA. It's not just, the ladies. She is basketball. Like she transcends, the ladies, the men. She just kind of, she is a basketball player. There's no sexism to it or anything. She is a phenomenal player. She is an iconic player. She, to me, is the all-time right now. A'ja Wilson has the tools to kind of take the mantle. And in 20 years, I'd like to see how her career ends, as good as she is. But for me right now, you don't know where you're going unless you know where you've been. Diana Taurasi, number 1.
Man, it is hard to deny Diana Taurasi. She's like the female Jordan in my eyes. I feel the same way. I think she's incredible. So 20 and happy retirement, of course, too. This is her first year of retirement from the league and well deserved.
Right.
She's a champion. She was a part of that Gino Auriemma UConn squad. I remember when she got drafted number 1 overall by the Phoenix Mercury. I remember watching it. It was only a matter of time, of course. And she is a part of that legacy of the UConn Huskies, a part of the legacy of the Phoenix Mercury, women's basketball as a whole. Hey, you know what? I can't argue with that, but I'm going to have to.
Please, what you got? Who's your, I want to know who is Podcast Smitty's number 1 of all time.
You know what, man? I had to fight because I had 2 in mind. I had 2. So I was going to go with our Naismith inductee in Maya Moore. I was going to go with her. She's one of the greatest winners.
Yes.
Of all time, one of the winningest players of all time. Multiple championships in college, multiple championships in the WNBA. She's been Finals MVP. She's been MVP of the league multiple times. That Minnesota Lynx squad. She was the Minnesota Lynx before Nafisa Collier was.
Right.
She's been a winner, perennial winner. But I said no. By a slim margin, because my GOAT for the WNBA is one of the originators, Cynthia Cooper.
Wow.
4 championships,
Wow.
4 years, 4 straight MVPs, and she started in the league when she was 34 years old. So I got to give credit. I'm giving credit to that old school WNBA. I got to go with the old school, with the OG. I got to go with Cynthia Cooper. She set the grounds for these players. She may not be as flashy as what we have now, but in a Lobo, a Swoops, a Leslie League like that. I know these ladies came later in their lives. I know the NBA was later in their lives. They were the pioneers. I get it. But you don't get the pioneers now until you get that very first pioneer, that first trendsetter. And that was Cynthia Cooper. She's my GOAT. She will be my GOAT. Hopefully I can find me a Houston Comets jersey. And I can see what I can find. Maybe they bring the Houston Comets back as an expansion team for the WNBA. Who knows? But my GOAT, Cynthia Cooper. All right, man. Have your show back. Appreciate it.
Fantastic, man. I appreciate it. I'm excited for the season here. We're finishing up the NBA. The NBA is still hot right now. Now we're going to roll right into the WNBA. WNBA is going to be hot too. So I'm excited for it. Shannon, I appreciate you being on my show, man. I got a lot of love, and I thank you so much for being here. We will have you on again, and we'll get to talking again. I'm sure we will. I thank you very much. Just kind of tell the people where they can find you right now.
You can catch me here on Boom Broadcasting. You can catch me here usually on Tuesday, usually on Friday with quick hits. Unfortunately, my episode didn't get uploaded on time today, so it'll be I take that back. It will be on today. My show was supposed to be on Friday. Will be on for today. We'll be a little day late, but that's okay. Talking about the NHL and the NBA playoffs, of course. Giving my thoughts on that. My thoughts on the George Pickens trade, which was very, very surprising.
Mm-hmm.
And my thoughts on my coach, Bill Belichick, and the craziness that's going on with him and the girl that he's seeing. He's my coach for my Tar Heels football team. You have to, as a creator, as a content creator, as a podcaster, you got to podcast the good, the bad, and the ugly. And let me tell you, that situation is ugly.
Is she allowed in there? I know there's been some tune changing to go along with that. So, you may have to decide whether she's able to come into the clubhouse or not.
Absolutely. In the words of country singer Travis Tritt, TROUBLE. But with that being said, I'm Shannon Smith, and this is Quick Hits.
Well, I appreciate you being here. And guys, I appreciate you being here on 3 from Deep. I am Jason Colenso. He is Shannon Smith. We will be back again. But guys, if you have not jumped on Boom Broadcasting, please do so. Like and subscribe. Again, you can see me 3 from Deep 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. Man, these playoffs, woo! We'll see where they go. Well, who comes out at the end. Guys, have a blessed weekend, and I'll catch you later. Peace.